Kelly Mitchell, the Caffeinator, and you're listening to Agent Caffeine, Fuel for the Real Estate Industry. We bring in the people who help make business better and deliver practical conversations to help you. Today, episode 226, CJ Vasquez joins us from RE/MAX, and we're talking about today's consumer, how they're moving faster than the speed of light. They're armed with more information and educated better than ever before. So today's broker needs to really be well armed to enhance the experience, but knowing where that information needs to come from can be a big challenge. How do you stay abreast of the consumer, anticipate their needs, and move as close to the speed of light as possible? Further, how do you use social and digital media to help anticipate those needs? So I'd love to welcome CJ Vasquez to the show. CJ, how are you?
I am wonderful, Kelly. Thanks for having me.
It's wonderful to have you here. You are a senior social media manager for RE/MAX, correct?
That is correct. Yep, that's my title.
And where are you based?
We are based in Denver, Colorado, is our headquarters. It's beautiful. It's a little cloudy here, but we are well into spring, so that's exciting.
Fantastic. And how did you get involved in the social media space to the degree that you're now involved?
That's a great question. I'd like to say it was very purposeful, but it wasn't remotely. I'm a lot older than I look, and so I started my career in public relations. And as social media kind of evolved, and especially evolved into the business world, then my job in PR merged with social. And I think that we see that trend continuing, where public relations is no longer, it's strict discipline. And so we kind of, in the PR department, inherited social media, and it's been an interesting ride, I can say that.
Well, I love it. I'd like to share the takeaways that the audience is going to get today so they kind of have the tone set. So we're going to understand how consumers are dictating how we communicate more than ever before, and how fast their behaviors are changing, and then also how social media has changed the real estate game, but it's not changing some of the essentials of business, right?
Yes, definitely. I think those are great points.
So from the standpoint of the consumer, what's happening with the consumer's brain today? Like, what are they on?
Yeah, you know what, and I think that's a scary question because it kind of depends on what time it is. And that's literally, I feel like, how fast it's moving. So even as a professional who's trying to keep a pulse on that, it's a constantly changing game. And so that's why I understand the pressure that agents and brokers in the real estate business are under. But consumers now, the way we communicate, we all know this, has evolved so much, and it continues to change, that it's really difficult to follow. But a lot of that game now, a lot of that communication is online, and we all know that. It's just trying to figure out where you need to be to get the attention from the audience that you want.
Absolutely, well said. So if we could follow a consumer in some way, shape, or form, what would you say real estate consumers' behaviors are right now?
Well, I think we know from studies that we've all seen that they start their home search and a lot of their kind of home looking online. And even before the home search, they spend a lot of time online doing all kinds of things around the home. So one of the consumer trends that I found really fascinating that I learned from an advertising agency, Leo Burnett in Chicago this summer, was that a lot of people now actually shop just for the pleasure of shopping without really an intention to buy. So, and that goes across the retail business and real estate as well. So they're out looking, they may be out looking actually at homes now and how we're decorating new homes and how new homes are being built without even a direct and very intentional want to buy right now. And so that's where I see a lot of opportunity if agents and brokers start to kind of understand that they can capture some people now even before they're in that lead funnel to purchase a new home. So again, it's another good tip, but it's things that we have to watch for when people release studies about how consumers behave.
You know, and it seems too like from a relational standpoint, we're having a harder time at maybe building more trust up front than we did in the past because there's so many options. Is there a way or is there a strategy that taps back into the essentials that also helps us with engaging maybe more efficiently and more profoundly with the consumers while they're in this, just basic kind of hunting stage.
Yeah, well, and I think that's a good point. I think that the trust factor can be scary, and especially when you think that you're establishing relationships online, and that's where a lot of my agents are fearful about things like Facebook. Are these really real relationships? Are these people really going to think of me when they actually need an agent to buy or sell their home? And what I tell them is the other thing that consumers are doing nowadays, and probably Kelly, you've done it, I know I've done it, is we reach out to our online sphere to get recommendations, to get referrals on everything from, what light bulb should I buy that's going to last me the longest, to the big purchases, what kind of car should I drive and what kind of home should I buy. And so that's why I tell my agents, if you're there and you're present in kind of their everyday online lives, you can be a part of those conversations, and when that period comes, there actually is a trust factor there. They'll have built a relationship with you where they have asked questions and you've commented and shared your experiences online with them in kind of a not salesy way. And so when that opportunity comes and they reach out to their sphere, you'll be part of that sphere and you'll be able to help them. So that's a message I continue to impress upon our agents.
So for agents who are trying to really keep up with the consumer, what kinds of strategies should they be putting behind their business? Like, what kinds of things do they have to do every single day without fail?
I think without fail, and this is going to sound a little bit trite, but it's really, you need to know who the consumers are that you're looking for. What's your area? What's your demographic? And then honestly, Kelly, you need to talk to them and find out what they want and how they want. And it's a scary thing because there are some people who still very much prefer an email. There are people who very much prefer a phone call versus Facebook. It's really interesting. As we were setting up for this, I was talking to one of the younger guys who was helping with kind of the equipment and all that setup, and he said he's literally not on Facebook anymore. He uses Twitter almost completely. And we talked about some of these consumer trends, and he said, I'm one of these people who shops online without an intention to buy. But it was all through a conversation that I had. And now that I know him well enough, I think I know how to communicate with him. I'm not going to find him on Facebook. But if I want to kind of communicate with him, it'll be on Twitter. So that's hard for an agent because you've got a really big base. If you want to do a lot of productivity, that's difficult. But I think that we know some sure things. There's no escaping the traditional forms of communication because you still need that, pick up a phone every once in a while, talk to somebody, meet and greet, handshake. We overuse this term, but belly to belly type communication. No one's going to tell you that that's gone away. But there's something to be said about 1 billion people on Facebook. My 92-year-old grandma is on Facebook, and she also has a boyfriend that she text messages. So we can't even, I know, oh, it's fantastic.
That is awesome.
I love it, yeah. So we can't really segment any age, any demographic of people. It's really kind of their preference. So, yeah, it's tough.
I'd love to hear from your standpoint, just from you being somebody who's in this social media space so heavily, what are a couple of your favorite tools that you use to track, engage, and inform with?
You know what? Yeah, great question. And I actually veer towards some of the organic things. So I spend a lot of time on Facebook. I love their insights now. So for our business pages and things, their insights are so fantastic. And I've been in conferences where people have said that, and I've looked over at agents and they're not really thinking about it or paying attention. And I think what they're missing is those insights are really going to tell you how to use your time wisely. Don't post at 9 a.m. because that's not when the people are following you on your business page. They're on your business page at 11:30, so that's the best time to capture information. So a lot of the insights and analytics on Facebook are fantastic. I use things like Hootsuite just so regularly, just as a way to stay on top of. This is a really big brand, and there's a lot being said. So we use a lot of organic tools like that just to listen in and just to be able to reply and talk to people. So, and then you can't get past mobile. I feel like everything we do is on mobile. So apps on mobile are huge for me, and all of them. Facebook and Twitter and even those that kind of help you balance your schedule are essential.
Excellent. So the agents everywhere have a higher calling or somebody higher that they need to report to, and that's the broker, the almighty broker.
Yes.
What do you think some of the best ways the brokers can support the agents in this social media space are, because it's new, it's scary to the brokers, probably even more so than the agents, because the agents seem to, just with their outgoing personalities, a lot of them seem like to take to it like ducks to water to some degree. How can the brokers better support the agents that are out there in the trenches?
Yeah, and it's a great question, because we still have a lot of agents who are very, very fearful of social media and being online. And so I have to tell you, one of my best brokers on the East Coast, when he first kind of got onto Facebook, he realized that he was a little inequipped and he was a little fearful and wasn't sure how to get started. And he literally, Kelly, he turned to his 14-year-old daughter and brought her into the office and had her build the Facebook business page for the office. And then he's got 80 to 90 agents. He brought them into a training room and had her teach them Facebook. And really, I think that sometimes we make social media feel like this big scientific, strategizing, and there should be a strategy to it, no doubt. But we tend to kind of blow it out into this big scientific thing that I think does actually scare agents. And this 14-year-old, it was kind of like you said, Kelly, some people just love it and they just do it and it's what they do. So I really tell our brokers to use agents, other agents in their office, use people in the community that love it and embrace it and know how to do it, to kind of share their best practices and how to work it. And we just got back from a RE/MAX convention and we had handfuls of sessions, more than handfuls of sessions about social media. And it's how do you use it? And they were very practical. This is how much time I spend. This is exactly what I do. Go forward and use it. So I think learning from each other and then really embracing people who love it to help teach you is a great way to do it.
Excellent, excellent. It's kind of funny when you bring up the 14-year-old daughter, it scares me a little bit, because we did, when the web pages first started coming out, people were going to their, high school kids and having them build websites. And while it's great to have that as a foundation, you're probably going to evolve the Facebook strategy a little bit further. But initially, for somebody of that age to be able to show you, how easy it is. It's just, and then you're going all the way up to a 92-year-old grandmother who's on Facebook, and this is the reality, right?
It is.
Yeah.
And when you get to a certain level, I definitely let agents know, once you've gotten into it and you're familiar with it and you're comfortable with it and you kind of want to set yourself apart from the competition, that's when you really kind of dig into some of the companies or even independent contractor people who really sophisticated social media. And so they've found a way to kind of bring all your social networks together and make it a holistic presence, from your blog to your videos to your Twitter account and things like that. And really, again, help you save time by being a place where you can post things and listen and really interact. So I definitely think there are certain levels to social media. Get in, get your feet wet, get comfortable with it, and then as you progress, there are lots of tools out there that can help you kind of, again, sophisticate those social networks.
Excellent, excellent. So what are your favorite weapons of choice when it comes to social media channels for agents to get business?
Yeah, and you know what I tell them, because they've got to divide and conquer a lot of times, and they've got listing appointments, and they need to make these calls, and they've got families and things too. So it can feel like, and again, when you go to conferences, you hear all of these tools and apps that you should be using. And again, we're just kind of adding to the fear of what social network is. So I say two things. One is go where the people are and go where your audience is. And so again, if you're in a market where you're really targeting these young kids, like the guy who just helped me with the computer get up and running, then you're going to want to kind of be more of a presence on Twitter and Instagram, and certainly, have a little bit of a presence on Facebook, but spend your time there. Again, we've got 1 billion people on Facebook. It feels like it's one of those that you really sort of need to stay on top of. But I've also seen agents who have a knack for something. I've got agents who really love to write, and they are, a lot of our agents are the experts, the subject matter experts in their market about real estate, and they can write about basically anything. So I'm like, you are perfect for blogging. You need to get that blog going and then, siphon it out into some tweets and market that blog and get it moving. And then I've got some agents who just kill it at video. They are just unbelievable at video. And I say, then you need to focus on that. Make sure that you've got your YouTube account moving and shaking and go with video. So it's really, it's one, where your demographic is, where the people are, and then two, what feels good to you? What are you most comfortable with? Because if you're going to try and do a social network that you don't love or you don't feel passionately about, you're probably not going to succeed, and it's certainly not going to be your best effort.
Excellent. Great response, and I appreciate that very much.
Yeah.
So staying abreast of the consumer, we're talking about interacting with these consumers, but but there's also this kind of balance between information and informational resources. We kind of don't want to replicate the portals of search because they've already been done quite well by the company, the big three that are doing it really well. When you're thinking about a consumer and how a consumer searches for a home, what kinds of things are they not seeing that the agents and brokers can provide to create that win, to cement that relationship, and to truly prove their value early on?
Well, and again, I think it goes back to kind of what are the needs of your buyers and sellers, and even again, like you said, before they're buyers and sellers, what are their needs? I think agents are a lot like doctors. As soon as you find out that your friend's an agent, you have, oh, I have this question. Do you know if I were to get a new water heater, what should I get? And again, we're in the age where we ask for information. We're going to ask people for what kind of water heater, what kind of landscaping should I do? If I'm going to spend $20,000 to renovate my home, where should it be? That's very much prior to selling a home. So I think that agents, again, need to just market themselves as subject matter experts and then make themselves available on these social networks with that kind of expertise, again, before the buying and selling process happens. So a lot of times I tell my agents, and they struggle, we all do sometimes, with what kind of content to post. We don't want to post things that are irrelevant or not valuable. And so I tell them, what are the questions that you get asked? Make a blog post about that. If you continually get asked about, how long should a water heater last, post a quick blog. It doesn't have to be, the old college theses that we wrote that were 5,000 words. It's got to be, 50 words of, how long should a water heater last? And again, it's doing two things. It's providing content of value, number one. And number two, it's making your network and your sphere known that you're a subject matter expert in real estate. And that's the difference I see in a lot of our agents who are using it very successfully, and the agents who, and we see these people, the repeat offenders who just post listings. It's adding that piece of value and staying top of mind to people who could potentially be buyers or sellers.
How are these people that are posting just listings, not hearing us talk about this? I mean, what is going on in their minds? Are they so busy posting their listings that they're not listening to conversations like this or going to our floors?
I don't know, because it's bad behavior. I heard someone analogize it once as like running into a room of real estate professionals who are chatting in little conversations and shouting, I've got a listing, and then running out. I mean, you wouldn't do that in a normal day. So don't do it online. Yeah.
Okay. And, we wanted to ask you, too, content marketing definitely kind of segues or is a best friend with the social media networks. When you're speaking into agents about content marketing, how do you kind of build a framework for them on what they should be putting out and when and how often if they're a blogger or a vlogger, how often for their own posts?
Right, that's a great question, and I usually go back to, we really emphasize with our agents and our brokers too, especially that, they've got this overall business strategy, and a lot of our agents by nature are planners, and they have calendars, and they know when their open houses are going to be, and they track community events and things, and we tell them to start with that calendar as a good base for content, number one, but then two, to plug in additional types of content and kind of really lay out your schedule, and it doesn't have to be for the full year, but maybe month by month or whatever you're comfortable with, week by week, and then really focus in on, again, what are people talking about? What are they coming to you about? I have a lot of agents who, it always strikes me that say, I don't really have anything to say, I don't know what they're going to want to hear, but agents do things every day that could generate content. They're doing showings and open houses, and they're hearing from inspectors and about mortgage rates and things like that really make for great content. So I tell them, keep that calendar with you. It's probably a calendar that you're already using daily. Write notes in it, take notes, plan out that month, and then I'm a big fan of scheduling, again, because our agents just have so much on their plates that scheduling out some things I think can really help them be consistent and stay with it. And then finally I tell them what you and I just talked about, Kelly, is what works for you when you see people on Facebook. If you have those agents who just post listing, not what to do, what not to do, I should say. If you see someone who overposts, then you can kind of tell, like, that person's overposting. I don't want to be like that. I'm going to spread mine out a couple days, so that I'm staying top of mind, but I'm not too in the face. So it's a little bit of a science, but it's not. Social media is a little bit of both.
And then for tools for that you refer agents to, what are some of your favorite tools to share with agents if they've, kind of gotten the basic training, but they want to take it a step further?
Yeah, we've got, I mean, there are plenty out there, and they are fantastic. One of the ones that we highly recommend is Back at You, which is an approved supplier in the Remax system. But they're a great company that does, again, takes your social media efforts, and they can really actually get anyone started. But they can also take that kind of, I'm already in, I've got a fan page, I've been posting content, I just need a little bit more help, and pull it up a level. So they'll do things like customize a Facebook page, which adds to the branding, that gets your branding out there, and not in an overly aggressive way, but just cover images and things like that, and then really helps you generate some content, and so that you can again be consistent and put a lot out there. So Back at You is one of them. I'm a huge fan of BombBomb, and while it's not a Facebook or a Twitter necessarily social network, it's video, email. I think it's amazing because it's really the middle ground between what we see as a traditional type of marketing and knocking on doors and calling people, and sometimes what can be considered impersonal social media posts where you're just putting out the blog or the content that's not direct. These video messages, and I've been getting them from our agents and lots of people lately, just have that extra little touch to bring that personal connection between you and another person, so that you can just send a video email to somebody, say hi, I was thinking about you, give me a call, if you have any questions about your water heater, just things like that that really bring a personal connection in. So two things that I'm a huge fan of.
Love it. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to ask on a personal level, what are some of your secrets to success? This is the opening the kimono section that the listeners love so much, because they know that they're going to get insights that are not, it's not like a resume, like everybody knows that stuff already. It's kind of out of the box a little bit.
Yeah.
For you, yeah.
I will tell you, and again, another word that we overuse sometimes in social media conferences and conventions is authenticity. But really, I feel like there's a very distinct line, and you can see it between authentic use of social media and marketing and things like that, and the inauthentic. And a lot of times I can tell you personally, I'll find myself doing something that I'm just not passionate about, and I'm thinking, why? And I have to stop and say, why am I doing this? Like, what is the real reason behind this? And I kind of have to reevaluate, am I just posting things on Instagram because I feel like I should be out here and I'm guilt driven and I need to be, posting things, or am I doing this because I really have something to share? And I've found that taking a few seconds to say, why am I doing this, and how could I be more passionate about it, and how could I be more authentic about it, makes a difference. Or do I scrap it? Is it not something that's going to come off as the genuine me, as the authentic me, and move on and focus my attention on the things that I'm really passionate about? And I will tell you, passion, it means a lot to me, because I got back from this convention, and we did a lot of thank yous while we were there, but I sat down and I went back to basics and wrote thank you cards, because a lot of what people did at this convention for me personally and professionally meant a lot to me. So I spend all day on social media, but I took the time to stop and write a thank you card, and that means everything to me, and I hope it does to them. But I think that's the difference for me, is I really try and figure out, why am I doing it, what am I passionate about, and how can I be more passionate about something that I maybe not be.
Excellent. I love that. What was your biggest takeaway from this convention?
Gosh, I have to say, this is going to sound trite, Kelly, but it's still all about the people. And I think that's why I love the real estate industry, because it's still all about the people. And so, there are trends and consumers, and there are tools and apps and technology, but being at a convention is so inspiring to me, whether it's, an Inman Connect or a NAR convention or whatever it is. Being around people, being able to walk up to people who you've met online, and you've never met them before, but you know their families, and you know their dogs, and you know all these things about them, being able to see them in person and wrap your arms around them, give them that full body hug with the wraparound leg, and just bring it in, is so great. And I think just the reason why we do what we do, and the reason why our agents do what they do, is because of the people. It's seeing people get in homes. For me, it's seeing agents who love their careers and love their jobs. It's trite, but Kelly, it's people.
You know what? I don't think it's trite. I really think that that's a great point, and it is about the people, because the tools are fantastic, and the messaging is great, that you can get it all the way out there now where you couldn't before. But if you leave the people out of it, then what do you have left, right?
And I think people are so fascinating. We come in all shapes and sizes and demographics, and I love getting to know people. So.
Excellent. Beautiful
Yeah.
stuff. Well, Corey, I want to thank you for joining us today. Lots of great information. Love your perspective on, helping give the brokers a leg up, helping the agents understand their consumers better and ask the right questions and stop being a serial poster on their own listings, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yes. And Kelly, thank
Excellent.
you so much for the opportunity. We kudos to you for what you do. We appreciate it.
Oh my goodness, and likewise, very mutual. Take care, Corey.
Thanks, Kelly. Take care.
Thank you. Okay, well, thanks for listening. To my caffeinators out there, thank you for keeping the stream rolling. Follow the hashtag #PoundAgentCaff every Monday at 3 p.m. Pacific time for quotes and takeaways. And pay it forward. If you've had a moment of inspiration, please take some time and share this show, this episode, or the whole podcast with somebody who needs a leg up, who it could be a competitor that doesn't do the smoothest transactions. It could be somebody who needs to up their game or polish their profession. But share the show, and we appreciate you. And that's a wrap. I'm Kelly Mitchell for Agent Caffeine, signing off. Take care.